We still don't know what's happened to those boxes, but we do know that they were researching things based on Tesla's research.
Nikola Tesla is one of the greatest scientific minds of all time.
Without Tesla's invention of alternating current technology, it would be a much darker and quieter world.
When Nikola Tesla died alone in a New York hotel room in 1943, government agents were in his suite within hours, hauling away his papers before his body was even cold. They were looking for one thing: the plans to a weapon he claimed could melt an army from 200 miles away. For 80 years, what they found, and what they didn't, stayed locked in a vault. Now, the files are open. And the truth about Tesla's secret lab turns out to be stranger than the death ray everyone was afraid of. Because the real secret was never a weapon. It was an idea so dangerous that the richest man alive shut it down on purpose. To understand the lab, you have to go back to 1901, to a stretch of empty farmland on Long Island called Wardenclyffe. That year, Tesla, already world famous for inventing the system that lights your house right now, bought 200 acres and began building a tower that was supposed to rewire civilization itself. It rose 187 feet into the sky, topped with a 55-ton copper dome, designed by the most celebrated architect in America, and it was funded by the single richest man on the planet, J.P. Morgan, who handed Tesla $150,000, around $5 million in today's money, to build it. Morgan thought he was buying a wireless telegraph system, something to compete with Marconi's radio and send messages across the Atlantic, a solid business bet. But Morgan didn't know what Tesla was actually building, and that gap between what the investor thought he'd bought and what Tesla was really planning is where this whole story detonates, because Tesla's real goal, the one he did not fully disclose, was to use that tower to transmit free wireless electrical power to the entire planet. Not messages, power. He believed, based on experiments he'd run at his laboratory in Colorado Springs in 1899, that he could push electricity through the Earth itself and through the upper atmosphere, using the entire planet as a conductor. Any person, anywhere, could pull energy out of the ground for free. No wires, no power lines, no meters. And that last word is the one that ended everything. Hold on to it. No meters, because it's the key that unlocks why the lab was destroyed. Think about it from Morgan's side. He had made his fortune on control, on owning the wires, the rails, the infrastructure that everything else had to flow through. And Tesla was proposing a world where electricity was as free and uncontrollable as air. There would be no way to bill for it, no choke point to own, no way to know who was using what. The story that has echoed for over a century is that once Morgan understood what Tesla was truly after, he saw not a business opportunity, but a threat to the entire model of how money and power worked. And he did the simplest, most devastating thing a financier can do. He pulled the funding, every dollar, and without it, the tower was finished before it ever fully worked. This is where the story turns dark. The Wardenclyffe project lost all credibility with investors. Why fund Tesla's impossible dream when Marconi had already made simple radio work? The tower stood abandoned for over a decade, rusting on its empty field. Then, in 1917, the company that had taken the property to recover Tesla's debts dynamited the tower and sold it for scrap. Tesla, by then in his 60s, reportedly wept when he heard. He would spend his final 26 years increasingly isolated and impoverished, consumed by ideas nobody would pay for, drifting between hotels, feeding pigeons, talking about a new weapon that could end all war. And then, on January 7, 1943, a hotel maid found him dead in room 3327 of the New Yorker hotel. He was 86, and within hours, the government moved. Because Tesla had been telling anyone who would listen that he'd designed a particle beam weapon, the press called it the death ray, that could knock planes out of the sky from hundreds of miles away. It was the height of World War II. The idea that those plans might exist and might fall into enemy hands was enough. The Office of Alien Property seized his papers and belongings, justifying it on the grounds that Tesla was foreign-born, even though he was a naturalized American citizen. Trunks of documents, notebooks, equipment, all hauled out of his room and locked away. And that seizure is what created 80 years of conspiracy theories. What was in those files? What did the government take? And here's the loop I opened at the start. What did they actually find when they finally looked? Now, at last, we can answer that because the FBI has declassified its Tesla files with major releases in 2016 and scanned documents posted publicly in the years since. And the official answer is almost anticlimactic. The government handed Tesla's papers to an MIT engineer named John G. Trump to evaluate. Trump reviewed them and concluded there was nothing of significant value, that the particle beam plans didn't contain enough to actually build a working weapon, and that the mysterious devices in Tesla's room were archaic electrical instruments, not prototype death rays. Case closed. No secret superweapon. And here's the detail history couldn't script if it tried. That MIT engineer, John G. Trump, the man the US government trusted to judge whether Tesla's genius was dangerous, was the uncle of a future president of the United States. So the death ray was a dud. The files were harmless. Mystery solved, right? Except that's exactly where it stops being clean. Because the declassified documents don't close the case, they crack it open in new ways. The released files are still heavily redacted, thick black lines inked over names and details 80 years later, which raises the obvious question of what still needs hiding. And there's the matter of the trunks. When Tesla's estate was eventually released to his nephew and shipped to the Nikola Tesla Museum in Belgrade, researchers noted a discrepancy that has never been fully resolved. Accounts of how many trunks the government originally seized don't cleanly match how many turned up overseas, feeding a persistent belief that some of Tesla's work was quietly held back. Even the official story admits the government was genuinely split. While Trump dismissed the weapon, the History Channel's own investigation found that FDR's vice president discussed Tesla's death ray with his advisors, and other military figures believed the particle beam was real. Two camps inside the same government, one saying it's nothing, one saying there's something here. But here's the truth that actually matters, the one that's finally coming out, and it was never really about a weapon at all. Strip away the death ray, the seizure, the redactions, and you're left with the thing Morgan understood in 1901. Tesla's secret lab wasn't dangerous because it might kill people. It was dangerous because it might set them free. A world of free, wireless, unmeterable energy would have dismantled the business empires of the men who funded him. The most subversive thing in that laboratory was never a beam that could destroy a city. It was a tower that could give a farmer in the middle of nowhere the same electricity as a millionaire and charge neither of them a cent. That's the idea they couldn't allow to be finished. Not because it didn't work, but because of what would happen if it did. And here's the part that makes this the truth coming out right now, in the most literal way. Wardenclyffe still exists. The tower is long gone, but Tesla's actual laboratory building, the last one still standing, was rescued from demolition by a grassroots crowdfunding campaign, and today it belongs to a non-profit, the Tesla Science Center at Wardenclyffe, which is restoring it into the only Tesla museum in the Western Hemisphere. The doors that were sealed for a century are being opened. You can book a tour and stand at the base of where his legendary tower once rose. The secret lab isn't a rumor anymore. It's becoming a place you can walk into. So the truth about Nikola Tesla's secret lab really is finally coming out, just not the way the conspiracy videos promised. There was no hidden death ray waiting in a government warehouse. There was something quieter and, in a way, sadder. A man who dreamed of giving the whole world free power, and a system that decided the world couldn't be allowed to have it. He died broke, in a rented room, feeding pigeons. And the idea they buried with him, energy for everyone, owned by no one, is still, 100 years later, a dream we haven't been allowed to finish. If that lit something up for you, stay close to the vault. The next door we're opening has been shut even longer. I'll see you there.